Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
All right, what's wrong with this picture? What's right with the picture? Here, my arm, my arm has been unveiled. The surgeon let me take my contraption slingy thing off, and so now I've got this. I look like an able-bodied person now, but I'm not. And in some ways, I can see why you want that thing, because it sort of does inform people that you're not quite able-bodied. And now I look like a normal person, but I can't. This thing doesn't function much. It's sort of like this thing hanging here. So where there'd be an expectation. I mean, what? Oh, where was I? Oh, leaving the parking garage from the surgeon's office, where I'd just been liberated, and I pulled up to pay. Excuse me. And it won't go this way, so I couldn't give the guy my ticket. Oh, here. And so there's a lot of this I'm doing, opening the door, and I don't know. I'm still every bit as messed up, but so anyway, that's all. I'll stop. But it was very exciting. And on the way out, I also met two of you. Failed to get your names. I'm sorry, but they said hi, and it was a pleasure meeting you. Although it's never a pleasure to be stuck in an orthopedic surgeon's waiting room. There's never a good reason to be there. And I just want to say that this lovely couple, the last words that the gentleman said to me, one of the last words was, "Don't stop swearing."
Excellent.
And he looked like a truly upstanding citizen. And I said, "Really?" And he said, "Really?" And then I decided, well, you know what? Even if I said that I wanted to stop swearing as much as I do, I don't know that I can. I feel like that. Didn't my sister say to me yesterday that I've gotten cruder? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Yeah, there's some kind of filtering thing that's gotten switched off. I always swore, but I think I swear more. And I think that, again, to use the term liberation, the liberation from the strictures of the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, under which I labored most of my professional career in television and radio. Once I got this gig on the internet, where there are no rules, I think at first I was just delighted that I was now in a position, sitting in front of a microphone, where I could say fuck and not lose my job. But I should have gotten over that by now, right? So it shouldn't be like such a great thrill to be able to be crude. I don't know. I think there's something a little unseemly about a woman of a certain age with a foul mouth. Although it could be considered. I don't know. I can't figure it out. But I guess I'll always be considered sort of a daffy old lady. So I think I can swear. I don't know. Never mind. Anyway, so today has started out, there's some good harbingers today on just a personal level. I got into work. I'm sitting here, and the studio door opens. This is just a few moments ago. And one of the wonderful DJs, he's a DJ at Bob FM, which is right next door here, poked his head in, and he said, holding a card in his hand, "Did you lose something?" And he's holding my Visa card. The credit card. And I said, yeah, where'd you get that? And he said he got it in a very public place, in the hallway on the 21st floor, just lying there. And I blame this arm for that, too, because when I'm juggling things, I can't quite hold everything well. But my God, so it was retrieved immediately. That's a good harbinger. And Jess had a good harbinger because the bus driver actually stopped. He was on his way, and they don't stop once they start up. And he must have he saw her racing frantically toward him and his vehicle, and he stopped. And now the sun is out, the sky is blue, I have my Visa card. All is right with the world, except for the guy who got in the elevator with me, whose fly was open, totally open. A well-dressed man who clearly didn't know his fly was open. And he got in the elevator with me, and it was just him with his fly open and me. And we were doing the elevator thing of ignoring each other, although I was in my head having this argument. Shouldn't you say something to him? I mean, tell the poor guy his fly's open. On the other hand, I was wondering if maybe he's some kind of weirdo, and the minute I say your fly's open, I'm in this place. I didn't know what to do. Is it the... Jess says I should have. So all of a sudden... Thank you. All of a sudden... This woman, who just a moment ago was saying that I've gotten crude and blah, 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 gets very delicate, and I don't know how to say, excuse me, sir, your fly's open. But I'm sure he would have wanted to know. So anyway, I let him go off on into the world with his fly open. And I don't know. What do you think about that? A woman telling a strange man in a concealed area that your fly is open. Do we have any folks out there who are going to tell me that I did the right thing or the wrong thing? Well, take the matter under advisement, okay? Okay. So now I understand we all have to know Tim Howard.
Woo!
Do you know Tim Howard? Because if you don't, you're not sort of with the program. It's the new program for the United States. It's the program that says we are now a soccer-loving country. And Tim Howard is apparently the goalie, who apparently had an extraordinary game yesterday, despite the fact that the USA did not prevail. But Tim Howard, ladies and gentlemen, a man who is about to become very rich with endorsement deals and all that kind of stuff, because he seems likable too, huh? And he's hot.
I like
yeah, Jess has the hot one. Yeah, but you're not the only one. I mean, yeah, it's clear. So I frankly don't care. I still can't. I can't. And the good news is unlike the Super Bowl, this World Cup nonsense only happens every 4 years. So that does make it seem special because, I mean, now you got to wait till, 2018, right? No, yeah, 2018 would be the next one. So that's sort of cool. Sort of like, but it reminds me of my brother always said this was something he found so brilliant. And I'm not going to remember names. And I know I've told this story before, and maybe one of you. It has to do with a Dallas Cowboy circa, 1960 something. That's how far back I'm going. This was a guy on the team who I think was, generally considered sort of a guy, a few words, didn't talk to media very much. And Super Bowls were still pretty new. So I guess he was about to play in maybe Super Bowl, whatever. If you look up wherever the Cowboys were in their first Super Bowl, that might have been it. And he's being interviewed, and some reporter breathlessly says to him, well, how is it going to feel to be in this ultimate game? I think he said ultimate game, yeah. And this guy looked at the reporter and said, hey, if this is the ultimate game, then how come they're having one next year? Well, my brother went nuts, and he informed me that that was the most brilliant thing he had ever heard. Because that is a guy who understood the meaning of the word ultimate. That's it. It's ultimate. Nothing on top of ultimate. It's ultimate. Why are they having it next year? If anybody remembers who that is, let me know. Okay, which reminds me of a joke I heard. I bumped into a local anchor man at the drugstore yesterday. And he told me a joke. And I told him I never tell jokes because I can't, and I never remember them anyway. So now we're going to see if that holds true, because this joke is it's a quickie, and it ain't complicated, and I should be able to tell it. So let's give it a try. This is going to be embarrassing because I always mess them up. See, I didn't say fuck them up. That's good, huh? I don't always mess them up, but here it is. I'm not naming the anchorman in question lest he get into trouble for telling a joke, which is, in this ultra-sensitive age could be considered not funny at all. So here it is. Old lady goes to the doctor, has a bunch of tests. The doctor comes in and says, ma'am, I'm so sorry, but I have some bad news and some worse news. And she just sits there waiting. He said, you have cancer and you have Alzheimer's. And she perked up and said, well, at least I don't have cancer.
That's a good one.
Well, he told me that. I let out one of those too loud laughs. We might have been in aisle 3, over in aisle 10. People were like, what the hell? And we both, and then I laughed so hard, he started laughing, and we generally made fools of ourselves. But so that was it. That's funny? I think that's funny. Colette has written about flies in elevators open. When getting off the elevator, tell him Kennywood's open.
That's what I said.
That's what Jess said. All Pittsburghers know what that means. I couldn't do it. I mean, I've heard that too, Kennywood opens, but I couldn't do it. Noreen says, if the guy with the open fly was from Pittsburgh, all you had to say was Kennywood's open. He would have known immediately. You're all coming up with the same response. How do I know if he was from Pittsburgh? First, I'll say, excuse me, sir, are you from Pittsburgh? And then if he said no, I'd say, never mind. What? But if he said yes, I would say Kennywood's open? No, I can't. All right. Would you have done it, though?
Yes.
Yeah? Oh, I let a fellow human being down. Here's what Marcy thinks. I always think, what if it were me? Yeah, right. I mean, yeah. Spinach in your teeth, all kinds of potentially embarrassing things. Tell me. And I do usually tell people, but this seemed, because it involved, private parts and stuff and cross-gender, I just got uptight. Anyway, back to Marcy. Would I want someone to tell me? That's what I think. Yes. Instead of walking around looking stupid, I think back. I walked around for over an hour and no one told me. Yeah. Oh, God. I think of all the people I passed and they could have told me. You could have done a good deed for somebody. Oy. It is more embarrassing to not be told than it is to be told. You can do it quietly and not blast it. Excuse me, sir. Your fly is open, she said. Do it with a smile. But I didn't, Marcy. I failed. I did. You're right. That one sounds best to me. And I failed my fellow man. Dang. Okay, next time I will. I'll tell him. It's not that happens that often, but I'll tell him. Okay, so this is weird. I've wasted 1/4 of the program. Yes, we have a call. Hello.
Good morning. This is Clarence from Canonsburg.
Clarence from Canonsburg. How do you do?
Yeah. About the fly.
Yeah.
My analysis is the implications that you saw that it was down means that you were looking at his crotch.
There, see?
And that's embarrassing.
No, but wait. But I was drawn to look at his crotch because something wasn't right about it. You know,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
You take
your peripheral vision picks these things up.
You took something in, and I saw there was like this flash of white where his pants were dark, and it was his shirt that was sort of sticking out of the. And then the whole thing was just down. It was totally down.
Yeah, he went to the bathroom.
Yes.
Yeah, tucked in his shirt, didn't pull up his zipper.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, but I could see why you wouldn't.
Here's another reason I didn't, and I didn't say this before. So I'm alone in this enclosed space with a man whose fly is wide open, and I punch my button in the elevator, 21, and he doesn't punch a button. And then I start thinking, uh-oh, is there something weird? Did he just get in here with me for nefarious purposes? And it wasn't until we got to 21 and I started getting out that I saw he pressed 22. But that made me a little nervous, too, that he hadn't put in a number.
Yeah, I get it.
Do you?
He could have been some kind of weird flasher guy. You don't know.
Yeah, that's what I wasn't sure. He
I
sure
think you
didn't
made the
seem
right
like...
decision.
Really?
And it was closed.
Well, that is it. It's closed. Thank you very much.
Yeah, the whole situation. Yeah.
But that's interesting. So all the women who have, we've got 3 women and Jess, 4 women, have all told me you should have told him.
Yeah.
And you, a guy, told me I shouldn't have told him. Or it was okay that I didn't. Or you understand
exactly.
why I didn't.
Not in that situation.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's like that thing. And I'm a guy.
Yeah.
If I was walking around with my zipper down and some woman said, hey, your zipper's down, I'm like, oh, thank you. Oh, she was looking at my crotch.
That's right. Right.
That's it. It's like that. Now, for me, as a guy,
yeah.
But there's been times when I've seen women with something on their butts, right?
Yeah.
They sat in something or there's a piece of lint. There's something there.
Right.
And I don't say, hey, you got something on your butt.
Because there you
If there implications, hey, you were looking at my butt.
Yeah.
Yes, I was looking at your butt, but I don't want you to know that.
I understand. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very much. Nice to hear from you. You too. This comes in from Joe at the Eat and Fart. Really? At the Eat and Fart in the Homestead Waterfront. Yes. The men's room has a sign on it that you see when leaving that says, "Is your Kennywood open?" So, there it is, pure Pittsburgh. But here's Mike in Philly. Oh, and he's not he says, Alzheimer's humor. See, that's the dangerous thing about making fun of Alzheimer's, which is such a horrific disease. But Man, if you can't laugh at it, what are you going to do? Alzheimer's humor, my mom, used to say the two best things about Alzheimer's is that, one, you meet new people every day, and two, you can hide your own Easter eggs. Oh, God. Which brings me to the question. I'll get to the rest. He's got a joke here, too. I mean, I guess these are all Alzheimer humors. Jokes. This is funny that I paused for a minute trying to remember what it was I was going to tell you. Because one of the things, I remember when I was on the radio, I think it was at WTAE. It was pretty far back. And there was a public service announcement that aired before it came back to me. And it was announcing like the first memory walk for Alzheimer's. And this was, one of those walks that raises money. And it struck me as the funniest thing in the world that you would call a walk for Alzheimer's the memory walk. I just cracked up. Talk about politically incorrect. Because the whole thing of Alzheimer's is you don't remember anything. So why call it a memory walk? I don't know. I think that's odd branding. I can understand maybe where whoever decided to call it the memory walk was coming from, but strikes me as very odd. Anyway, here's another joke from Mike in Philly. A man takes his wife to the doctor because she's acting strange. The doctor comes out and tells the man that his wife has either herpes. Oh, no, I can see where this is going, and I'm not doing it. What do you mean I have to finish it? I thought I was going to stop being crude.
It's 2014. Who isn't crude?
Well, that's a terrible thing to say. Jess said it's 2014. Who isn't crude? All right. I'll do it. All of a sudden, I become Miss Priss here. Okay, but then I'm done. Man takes his wife to the doctor because she's acting strange. The doctor comes out and tells the man that his wife either has herpes or Alzheimer's. The man says, "Oh, wow, that's odd. What'll we do? How will we find out?" The doctor says, "Drive your wife 10 miles from your house. If she finds her way home, don't fuck her."
That's fair.
Oh, God, that's... See, now mine was a lot. No. I like the one that our anchor man told me. Okay. Marcy says, "Clarence, you would be surprised how many women look at men's crotches even when the zipper is up." Really? Do you?
Fuck no.
Will you stop saying fuck?
I've not said it at all.
You just said fuck no.
But like once ever.
Okay, once. Honest to Pete. Okay, here's Roger checking in. Boy, is this high-toned conversation today, huh? One man to another, even if he's a stranger, I have no problem telling him flat out, "Hey, your fly's open." Kennywood is open? Never heard that and wouldn't know what you were saying if you told me. I would have no problem if a woman told me my fly was open. I would be uncomfortable telling a woman her fly was open. Remember the scene in 40-Year-Old Virgin when Steve Carell is speed dating and that woman's nipple was exposed? Hilarious. I don't remember that. I don't, but... And he couldn't say anything, but he couldn't look anywhere else. Something like that. Oh, human foibles. Honest to Pete. Ooh, did I ever take a break?
You didn't yet.
Okay, I have to take a break. Aren't we a talkative bunch?
Stick around for more with Lynn Cullen Live after this.
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is. Because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
Download the brand new CP Haps app and find out what's going on in Pittsburgh. It's the fun and free app that puts the most popular events at your fingertips. Text events to 77948 to download now and register to win 4 Kennywood tickets and 4 Sandcastle tickets. The CP Haps app, brought to you by Pittsburgh City Paper.
You're listening to Lynn Cullen live at pghcitypaper.com. Once again, here's Lynn Cullen.
Excuse me. And you're saying, why is she saying that? I don't know. So speaking of human foibles, got a few stories in the news that I think could reasonably be put under that heading. Do you know that, so GM just recalled a whole millions of more cars. They're up to now about 29 million cars.
Oh my God.
That they've recalled this year. 29 million! And yet, their cars are selling like hotcakes. More people went to buy GM cars this June than did last June, and their sales were doing fine last June. Actually, they sold despite all the just constant negative publicity where you would think, oh, gee, I want to buy a car. I can't, you go for GM? Yeah, you do apparently. They've been selling like hotcakes. So, it's in the business section of the New York Times. Buyers ignore GM recalls. Sales rise. What? I mean, that's odd. Explain that. Really? Here's another in the human foibles thing. Wow. How the mighty fall. Tony O'Reilly. Anthony O'Reilly, the former CEO of Heinz, the dapper, handsome Irishman who came here and ran Heinz for a long time, and at one point was the highest paid CEO in maybe the world, but certainly in America. This is a guy who had castles in Ireland and homes here and a fancy place in Fox Chapel, and he owned newspapers, and he then bought Waterford Crystal. I mean, didn't buy some Waterford. He bought Waterford Crystal. And all this other stuff. He was rich as can be. The O'Reilly Theater, bears his name. He was a handsome man. Traveled in, the highest circles. Well, he is apparently about to declare bankruptcy. Now, how does somebody who was worth, I don't know, gazillions end up, and it just, it reminded me of something. The first time I screwed up my courage to ask for a raise, it was at WTAE TV, and I was walking down the hall with the general manager, and I said, guys aren't paying me enough. He said, you know what, let me tell you something. He said, so you're on a tight budget because of what we're paying? I said, yeah. He said, well, let me tell you something. He said, if I were to give you twice as much, you know what? You just end up spending twice as much. That's what happens when you give people a raise. So you're going to be in the same predicament, feeling like you need a raise, because the minute you get a raise, you up your quality standard or your materialistic I hate that when you're talking and you end up in a dead end. So, even though he had all this money, he blew it. He owes 200 million euros to several banks. Now, guys, that would be over $200 million. Well over. It might even be like almost $300 million. He owes $300 million. And they say, I mean, this guy had a larger-than-life personality. He was born poor, so he was a self-made man. But if you read the piece in the Post-Gazette today, it seems as though it's his, just sort of sense that he could do no wrong. Everything had always gone well for him. I mean, it's sad in a way that at this end point in what had been a, extraordinarily successful life, he's brought down. I think they said he was like 78 years old now. I feel sorry for the guy. He always seemed like he'd be fun, but I don't know. I usually don't like CEOs, but I feel sorry for him. That's quite a tumble. And now I'm going to go someplace totally different. Clarence has maybe responded to Marcy here. Crotch, he says. I wouldn't be surprised. Marcy had said, you would be surprised, Clarence, how many women look at men's crotches even when the zipper is up. And he says, I wouldn't be surprised. Well, I ain't one of them. I'm not looking at men's crotches. I think women look at men's behinds, don't they? Jess, don't you look at men's butts? Not?
I look at their face and their shoes.
Face and shoes, says Jess.
You have to have good shoes.
I look at hands. Do you know who has the most gorgeous hands? I've never seen them in person, but every time I see a picture where his hands are visible, I think, oh, Bill Clinton.
Really?
Oh, God, he's got gorgeous hands. Find a picture of Bill Clinton's hands. I got to tell you, he has these beautiful, long, thin fingers. They're beautiful hands. My father had beautiful hands. Maybe that's why. I think, I don't know. Hell with crotches. So that's just my personal opinion. Okay, so I was going to go to a totally different place here. The surgeon asked me if I was still in a lot of pain. I said I'm in more pain now than I was, because now I've got to try to get this arm working again, and everything, it doesn't want to do anything, and all you got to do is one wrong move. You reach quickly, the very kind of moves that sling prevented you from doing. Something falls and you just reach real quickly. The pain! Oh my God! Searing, white pain. So he asked if I needed anything. I said, you guys traffic in garbage. These opioids, I hate them. There's so many. I hate them. I said, don't you have something beyond the Percocet and the oxycodone and all that crap? And, we started talking about codeine and Tylenol, I don't know. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to smoke pot. And he looked shocked. I was surprised because he's a young guy. And he looked I'd gone too far. He couldn't even respond. But when I saw that he couldn't respond, I said, no, I'm not kidding, because it is a great pain reliever and it doesn't upset your stomach or make you constipated or make you stupid. Makes you happy and hungry. That's all it does. Those are the side effects. Okay. Where I want to head now is to page 2 of the Post-Gazette, where you could end up on page 2. I don't know if you realize that, but page 2, which is edited by my friend Gary Rothstein, is really one of my favorite pages in the paper because it has columnists on it, and the PG has wonderful columnists, and it has these, it does the random acts of kindness thing and stuff like that, but it also allows you to write something under a topic called biography. You can write anything. It's like a little essay, something, and present it to them, and they may or may not publish it. Well, they published one today that so touched me, and I think makes such a great point. It was written by a woman, Darlene Fisher Zellers, who writes it about her dad and about her dad's death and about the fact that she called the paper to put in the obituary. And the person on the other end taking her information said, "I'm very sorry for your loss," and then asked, "Was your father well known?" And she said she sort of stammered. It was, he was, he had a large family. He had lots of friends. Is that well known? And the woman on the other end at the paper said, "No, I mean, was he someone important? Was he an elected official or a prominent businessman? Our editors may be interested in writing an article of your father outside, if he was well known." So, we know they do. Of all the people in the obituary page, there's maybe one or two actually end up with a article that is written by a reporter. Now, this conversation that Darlene Zellers is telling us about with the person over at the Post-Gazette or whichever paper it was happened 17 years ago. Her father has been gone 17 years. But she's never been able to forget the fact that she couldn't explain to this woman, that she didn't have the right answer to, was he someone important? And she finally answers it with this piece. And beautiful job. And so 17 years after, she reluctantly replied, "No, I don't think he was important enough." And she felt she'd really let her dad down. But then she goes on to explain what she should have said, but of course. And I love this piece. I love it. I recommend it to you. I'll tell you I'm just going to read a little teeny weeny bit. It would be hard for you not to have known him, she says to us. He spent his entire life in Pittsburgh, a blue-collar worker whose tax dollars and charitable contributions supported the growth of our city. If you or a loved one ever received a blood transfusion, he was that regular donor whom the blood bank depended upon. He was hardworking, sports-loving, and the first to offer his hand if he knew someone needed help. He was like the thousands of other Pittsburghers whose endearing qualities contribute to the character of our community. If you ever drove in the Western District of Allegheny County, you surely remember him. He salted the roads in the winter and helped repair the potholes the rest of the year so you could travel home safely. Like so many other Pittsburghers who spent their lives laboring for the public good and welfare, he was very important. I love this piece. And Darlene, you did your dad proud, and you can put whatever guilt you have been suffering from for the last 17 years when you didn't have a ready comeback to the question. No, I mean, was he important? You've done it. Done it beautifully. Darlene Fisher Zellers of Crafton. Well done. It's another thing your dad did, huh? You raised a good kid. A loving kid. A heck of a good writer. Oh, Margaret says, Cary Grant's hands in North by Northwest. He also, yes, has elegant, long fingers. You never found Bill Clinton's hands?
I looked at them.
You don't think they're that beautiful?
They're okay.
What do you mean they're okay? There was one picture I saw once of his hand, and I just went nuts. So, I mean, well, he could have been a hand model. It was really wonderful. Wonderful stuff. Okay. So, oh my gosh, look at that. How the time flies. We've got to take our final break, and I'll be back in a moment.
Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com or call Lynn at 412-316-3381. Lynn Cullen Live will return in a moment.
Download the brand new CP Haps app and find out what's going on in Pittsburgh. It's the fun and free app that puts the most popular events at your fingertips. Text events to 77948 to download now and register to win 4 Kennywood tickets and 4 Sandcastle tickets. The CP Haps app, brought to you by Pittsburgh City Paper.
This is the sound of a flat-screen television hurled off a building. Now the new bike your kid wants. These are the things you could have, all cast into oblivion. Because when you throw away money on wasted electricity, you throw away everything you could have bought with it. Use Energy Star light bulbs and appliances, and you could save hundreds of dollars a year. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn at pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
All righty. So, there was a big meeting over at, I guess it was at the City County building yesterday with the mayor and I guess representatives of the Penguins, the Steelers, what's that baseball team? The Pirates. I'm kidding. They've been doing pretty well lately. Whatever. And also sports and exhibition people and parking lot operators and all those kinds of folks, the kind of folks who have they have a seat at the table, because what the mayor wanted to talk about is how we get a handle on the people who come to events and then feel free to trash our city. And so the mayor wasn't kidding after that last concert that got him angry, the Luke Bryan concert. So And he did say, we're going to do something about this. This is not what we're going to tolerate anymore. I guess it wouldn't have occurred to Ravenstall, because Ravenstall would have been part of the mob littering. I mean, I think, didn't he once get arrested at, I believe he got arrested at, I don't know if it was Heinz Field or, no, I think he did, before he was mayor. But, yeah, he was a party animal type. So, they're going to, nothing has happened, but they're going to probably restrict in some way. They're going to have some agreement where they're going to restrict some tailgating or docking of boats at events. Not that you can't, but not that I think they're going to make it so it's harder to get to an event 8-10 hours before it where you do nothing but drink up until then. And so by the time the event starts, you're in no condition to even go to it. And I think one of the things that was sort of startling to me was how many police calls happened during that concert. I mean, people are getting into fights, people are getting hurt, I love the fact that this mayor is a serious man in that respect, and he wants his city, which he loves so much, clearly, to not be used as a dump. So I'm with the mayor totally on this one, totally. And it brings to mind that that article, I forget it, I know I mentioned it, where how one reacts to alcohol is partially cultural. And unfortunately, in the United States, our culture says that if we drink, we then can be excused bad behavior, that it's assumed that people who are happy or are celebrating and are drinking get loud and messy and violent, and it's just you blame it on the drinking. I remember Doug Hirth always arguing that for some people, for a lot of people maybe, a football game or a concert is just an excuse, is a perfect excuse to just get flat drunk. And there's something about that is the culture. It's not shocking to our sensibilities as Americans, because that, we know, is what a lot of people do. And we laugh about it. Peduto ain't laughing, and I'm glad. So for a lot of people, the event itself is not the thing that really draws them. It's the fact that the event allows them to get stinking drunk. You know, the other thing that I've often wondered is you look at the how the police end up having to deal with this crap and these people. And haven't you wondered, you see so many drunks, let's say, at a Steeler game. And then after the game, all these drunks get in their cars and drive? I mean, you know that as that game lets out, that there's hundreds, thousands of drunk drivers let loose on the streets. There again, something that is, in fact, truly a public safety hazard. And speaking of public safety hazards, do you believe, well, maybe you do, that a 2-judge panel has ruled that Uber and Lyft, the ride sharing, I forget exactly, ride sharing companies must cease and desist their operations immediately. The reason being that the threat to public safety was immediate. It was that Uber and Lyft are that much of a threat to public safety that they have now been told you cannot ply your business here. Here's the judge's ruling. This, I think, is ridiculous. The commission, we are not blind or deaf to the public opinion in the Pittsburgh area that the transportation needs of many individuals are not adequately met by currently certificated carriers. However, the commission, Public Utility Commission, the PUC is charged with a higher duty than just the public's convenience. The commission is also charged with ensuring public safety. Well, I gotta tell you, I think Steeler fans are a greater threat to public safety than Uber and Lyft. And guess what? They won't stop. I don't know. What can they do? I mean, they keep getting fined every day, and there's deep pockets behind these two companies. And they're just going to keep on keeping on. The responding to this, the spokesperson for Uber said the decision was baffling. And she said, in fact, the PUC's decision could lead to an unsafe environment exactly because of drunks. Because if there's one thing Uber and Lyft does is it takes people who know they're inebriated home. And she says heading into the 4th of July holiday, another excuse for a lot of people to get stinking drunk. It could be that not having Uber and Lyft available and, as usual, not being able to rely on yellow cabs, that we'll have drunk drivers on the road. So they said that, in fact, once Uber was operating in Seattle, their DUI arrests declined by 10%. And the spokeswoman said, we have no plans to stop operating. This is a disappointing ruling, but the mayor... Oh, no, this is what the mayor ain't happy with this either. Disappointing ruling, says the mayor's spokesman, and we're committed to innovation and providing safe and popular transit options. So this is interesting. You got the mayor behind Uber and Lyft. You have the PUC and its judges saying, oh, it's a terrible thing, a horrible threat to public safety. And you have Uber and Lyft saying, you can't stop us. The fines won't stop them. So what are they going to do? Hold them in contempt? I don't know. I wonder. It's interesting. It'll be interesting to watch this thing play out. Okay. Mike and Philly's back. This is another obit story. My mom died after being in a coma for 2.5 years in March. Sorry. Oh, it's rough. I wanted to put her obit in 3 newspapers: Altoona Mirror, where she was born, the Post-Gazette, where she lived for 20 years, and the Fort Lauderdale Sun-Sentinel, where she lived for 20 years and where she died. The Altoona Mirror was the best of the 3. They asked if she was from the area. I said yes. They asked if she still had family in the area. Again, I said yes. They said, then you get a certain amount of lines for free, and a low cost for the rest. It ended up costing me $50. I called the Post-Gazette and was asked, was she famous or well-known? You got the same question. Was she famous or well-known or an elected official? I said yes, she was well-known. They asked how. And I told her, the woman on the other end, that my mom was a friend to everyone, and everyone in our neighborhood knew and loved her. They said, and I quote, "Sorry, that's not what we meant. We mean, would people in and around Pittsburgh know her?" Again, I said, yes, people knew her everywhere. They asked, how? I said, because she knew so many people and had friends everywhere. They again said, sorry, that's not what we meant. I asked, well, what exactly do you mean? They said, well, was she an important figure who did something for the city that would be well known? I had to admit that no, I guess she wasn't. Then they gave me the price for the obituary. $575. You gotta be kidding me. Really? The Fort Lauderdale paper did not ask me any of that. They just quoted a price, $715. If I went with all the obits, it would have been almost $1,500. I was willing to pay that, but my mother probably would have gotten out of her coffin, called me crazy, and then dropped dead again. The papers wonder why no one reads or pays for their services anymore, and then they charge like this. Well, that's because they don't have the advertisers they used to have, so they're going to get you when you are perhaps feel you're in no position to say no. Mike writes, in the end, we put her obituary on the funeral website and on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All free, by the way. Yeah. Wow. And Mike he has opinions on everything on the show today, Mike, and I appreciate that. In regard to tailgating, he says, I still come back to Steeler games 6 games a year, 4 or 5. I'm changing your numbers a year. My father, when he was alive, said that before I die, I will see the end of tailgating. Didn't happen. But I think it will happen with me, and here is why. Sooner or later, someone will get seriously hurt or killed at a tailgate. The lawyers will come out and after them and sue the venue, the artist, and the lot. Then it's all going to stop. I've told my European friends many times when they asked why America does certain things and not allow certain things, I said it all starts and ends with lawsuits. Yeah. Damn lawyers! I wish it would just end because we would agree as a community that this is not how we want to, again, comport ourselves and how we want to, and that we respect our city and we want to keep it looking beautiful. I mean, Pittsburgh has, litter all over the place. It's one of the things, we keep getting all these accolades, and then on the other hand, you see things where you just, you cringe, you wince, you think, oh, God, this is embarrassing if somebody sees this who comes in from someplace else. I don't know. Well, just like we're all getting cruder, we're all getting less civil. This is all bad, 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 bad. And I'm aiding and abetting, and I'm part of it. Mea culpa. Mea culpa. Oh, speaking of that, did you see how this homophobic bishop, maybe even archbishop, in Minneapolis, has now been accused by a number of people, including other priests and seminarians, of unwanted advances. And this guy is a out there homophobe. Well, I mean, that's the way people like me see it. I mean, he rails against, gay marriage and things like that. And it turns out that he's been, unbelievable. He has apparently called for an investigation of himself, and he says he totally denies all these charges, and we'll see. But I don't know. Stuff keeps happening, huh? And I think that, Bill Clinton's hands. Did somebody find me? Susie, I was privileged, she says, to shake Bill Clinton's hand. And you're right. His hands are beautiful. You mean you had the presence of mind while you were shaking Bill Clinton's hands to look at the hand? Wouldn't you have been riveted on his face? That big, beautiful paw grabbed your hand? She says, I couldn't stop looking at his face until he sent that hand my way. Then I couldn't take my eyes off his hand as I held it in mine for that second. Then I watched that hand as he shook others' hands, as he walked down the line. I was really, really surprised at how beautiful his hands were. See? Susie. Cool. They're beautiful. They're beautiful hands. He could wrap his hand around me anytime he wants. Yes, indeedy. Okie doke. That'd be it. I think we're done. Tomorrow is Thursday, huh? So Mr. Sokolowski will be joining us, as will I. Friday, obviously, we're going to celebrate the birth of the United States of America. And we're going to do it by eating nitrites and red meat and all these things that are going to kill us dead. And we're going to drink too much, too. Yee-haw! See you tomorrow.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.